It says no data, but we are streaming. Excellent connection. There we go. It's got the green light up. No data. And yeah, I'm seeing ourselves streaming. Okay, let's now say
I
the
just said
magic
I'd check it.
words.
Yeah, it's good.
You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hey.
It's Niall.
Oh, yeah.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering the anime that aired the week of the 15th of March to the 21st of March, 2021. And we're going to start with our solitary exception, VLADLOVE, Episode 6, Castle of Vania. Very important to put that "of" in there because it prevents you from being sued by Konami.
Even if you say the word Konami and barely bleep it out.
Man, there was really it's just like this seems like a grand experiment in how much can we get away with all of the just referencing characters from other properties and other properties entirely we used to do back in the 80s.
Is this like the Three Stooges thing where it's just like so many people will be trying to sue them that no one can get all the money, surely? Yeah? They'll fight amongst themselves to get the money.
By the time they figure it out, we'll be at a beach in a non-existent country earning 20%.
We open with the roll call of all the characters, including the three lads in the karate club who
I have already forgotten their names.
Yep, as predicted.
Yes, who will likely not be named ever again after this episode. And it is the school festival episode of which the characters inside the show are like, I wondered when we were going to get around to this episode.
It's like, we're a bit of the way in. We've established the rotating cast here. Let's just go to all the cliches, get those out of the way real quick.
Not a Nazi-themed cafe this time. It's not Beautiful Dreamers school festival. Instead, they're going to put on a play. The play's the thing, and it's going to be the classic play, Castle of Vania.
What was there was lots of jokes. I was clearly like, okay, I don't know who any of these fucking authors are, so I do not get the puns you guys are making.
The big one is the director that they allude to when I can't remember her name now. The bossy one takes over.
Yeah.
The prefect.
Yeah,
that's what she is.
Jinko.
Yeah,
Jinko Sumida. Yeah, because she just has a drawing of the director's face on her face at one point. And then he's like a big. He was a big director. Died 2016. But he did lots of Shakespeare and lots of Greek tragedies from. I didn't find anything...
Big, important plays.
Yeah, I didn't find anything about his personal style to suggest he was as bossy as Jinko, but watching this, you would assume that's what they were going for.
At the very least, that's the reputation that seems to be...
That seems to be what they're implying. And basically, it's a lot of school amateur dramatics jokes, Castlevania jokes. I was like... I think last episode, I was like... It's almost like Mai's not a character in this show sometimes.
Prop.
Yes.
She's the MacGuffin that everyone gathers around, I guess.
Yeah.
She drinks some blood and then things happen. She acts like somebody else. And she's more like, here is... she's just a prism to which we're expressing our actual personality, quirks and flaws. Because it's being reflected back onto you through Mai. It's like, I don't sound like that, do I? According to your blood, yeah, you do.
So yes, it's Jinko's blood who she ends up drinking because she gets so nervous the night of the performance that she becomes anemic, and so Chihiro has to go ahead with a sinister blood transfusion that we don't actually see on screen.
That's like it pauses. Like, this is where I knew that shit was going to hit the fan. Kind of like just. Let me just pause the fucking plot as it's continuing to just go like, this was a bad idea. But to be fair, there's no good idea in this show. So, yeah. There's no way it's going to turn out well.
Also, a lot of Castlevania references, and specifically the disc version of Castlevania references.
Yeah. This version doesn't have a pause feature, so no intermissions, no pauses in the thing.
Dear.
What is to die, monster? You do not belong in this world. Pronunciate.
Yeah, that's basic. So the first half is them rehearsing and giving out the parts, and then the second half is the actual play and them diverting from the plot. And we learned Chihiro was going to play the mummy, had been written out due to time, and yet she was still dressed up as the mummy backstage, purely because that is the character the animators are perving on the most. Any opportunity.
But to be fair, let's perv on the grown ass woman more. I think that's probably better.
It is, yeah. But it is funny how blatant it is as well.
It's like crazy horny.
It is crazy horny.
Oh yeah.
And yet all the other characters are horny for Mai. They're not horny for her, which is a funny juxtaposition as well. And the characters are they're dressed up as, so we got the head of the karate as the Frankenstein monster.
Frankenstein. They're the bosses really to the Castlevania levels.
Yeah.
I was surprised they went with the Reaper so early. I thought that was just before Dracula, but I must be thinking of the wrong Castlevania.
Oh no, don't worry. You're right, Dwayne. They changed the order after the order they stayed in the first half of the episode.
Yeah, see, like it goes so off the rails. I was like, wait, is this part planned? Because that's really weird.
No, it's in the right order when they discuss it in the first half of the episode.
Okay,
and it's
fair
completely
enough.
changed orders, and one of them's disappeared out the story in the second half.
It does go off the rails fairly quickly, but I mean, like I feel like that's part of the appeal of student plays, right?
I mean, the crowd love it. You know, that was just so crazy. Some of us got killed when like sickles were thrown into it, including Captain Golo from Pat Labor. But they just like appreciate just like the wild, fucking crazy turns it took.
And so now, by the end, Chihiro declares that Jinko is one of them.
It's up to your neck now.
And I couldn't quite tell whether that was like in story or a bit of like the idea of it's like because she's upset that it hasn't gone the way she wanted and that the people working under her had gone out of control. But it's like
she wanted like absolute control director based on her blood type.
But it's like the idea if you got the reaction, if you got a reaction out the audience, then you're part of that. I was like, is that the creators talking through Chihiro? It's like, you're now, this is what it's like to make art. You don't necessarily get to make the art you set out to make, but hey, if an audience reacted to it, you should be happy with that.
If people like it, you've done a good job, even if you weren't happy with the job you did.
But also, obviously, in the context of the actual story, it's now you're a weirdo too. Now you're part of this weirdo night school that I'm running. And we're going to do something else next. What are they doing next week that is similarly
copyright infringing?
They're doing a movie, aren't they?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. I think the next episode is called Day for Night.
That was it. Yeah. I don't know. This creators like to make things about the creative process.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but I look forward to the interpretive dance thing that Nami's going to do a few episodes in, I bet.
Yeah, someone did tell me on Twitter when I was wondering, like, what was up with Oshi's school days that twice he's put a torture club in his school, and apparently he'd said in an interview that a lot of this is based on his time at high school.
Like, there literally only has to be like one torture club for you to go, I'm adding a fucking torture club to everything. That's the funniest fucking shit I've ever heard of.
No one will believe me this actually happened, but I'll put it in there.
Or some joker tried to put that club up as an official club.
He tried to get it appealed. Yes. I tried to get it approved.
Somebody was like, wouldn't it be funny if we put forward a torture club? Because that is a very high school thing you'd think was funny at the time. But talking of things you find funny right now, right here, it is Pui Pui Molcar, episode 11, Time Molcar, in which we travel back to ancient Molcar days to see primitive man and how he made fire by climbing inside a time-traveling Molcar with your, I don't know, granddaughter. It's It's a Doc Brown type little model man driving a Doc Brown type Molcar, but he.
Oh man.
but he has just like a suitably attired granddaughter with him on his.
Well, I think based
trip.
off the jumper there of the kid, it was probably doing like a Rick and Morty thing, but that's a Back to the Future reference as well.
Yeah,
so a reference of a reference. Yeah. It could be a little of both.
Again, we're like going to pull from many different things here, and you can't do us. That's not a DeLorean. It's clearly a guinea pig, Gary. There's two different things.
Completely different. I did like the way your man's kind of going back. He's looking through his history book. He's like, oh yes, this was like the discovery of fire, and he wants to take a bunch of selfies with the guys who first made fire, and they've obviously like skidded into it, knocked out their fire instantly, and the cavemen are just like, the fuck. They're very mad, obviously.
But then they run away. They've been scared by something. What have they possibly been scared of? A giant prehistoric Molcar.
Whoa!
Specifically,
like before the evolved wheels, they were just Marmatou.
He looks at his history book again, and he learns, yes, Molcars descended from guinea pigs. And specifically, this is a guinea pig being played by the guinea pig who plays all the Molcars in the show.
Yeah. I was wondering, did they record a guinea pig and then like run it through like a synthesizer so they could like go like squeak, 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 you know? But this is specifically its noise. Like this is
it's the director's passion.
Okay.
So it's like, just having that song. Why would you not have probably hours upon hours with tapes of of him recording that mini gig?
It's a mix of it on a green screen and also it just sitting on the set.
They have like the still like not animating Molcar that it can interact with, which I was like, that's great. Yeah. I love that. Yeah,
it's just like the impreciseness of it. It's just like, it's just batting it around. It just feels like like in this carefully managed animation production, it just seems a little bit of like kind of behind the curtain almost.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun to introduce that element of like chaos into something that, while it looks chaotic, is really fucking well constructed as a show.
It's the tangibility of the stop motion medium. You can reach out and touch it.
But it's cold.
It is the Ice Age.
Yes, it is cold. So they get a jumper out of the Molcar for it, and then return to their own time when they discover that they have changed the future and now Molcars wear jumpers.
No, what have we done?
Dear. Great stuff as usual. Yeah.
It is. It's absolutely cracking stuff. Last episode for us to discuss next week, but you can now watch it on Netflix in Japan and most countries except some Asian countries. Because I assume they're still big.
It'll make its way.
Well, no, they've already got it on Muse Asia on YouTube.
So they're getting the license.
Which is how I've been watching it, by pretending to be in one of those countries.
But yeah, I'm glad it's coming to a medium that a lot of people have access to, and I hope more people get more eyes on it because it's fucking great. Really fun show.
It happens, like, that Rita Kuma and Kaoru thing got out to a lot more folks than you'd expect as well. And I think, that was very charming. I'd love some more of that. It's an easy sell, I think.
Yeah, it's a thing where people are going to see the thumbnail and click on it.
Yeah.
So its design will do its job. And then we got more news from the director that he's off to Studio Wit to start a sub-studio dedicated to stop motion animation. And promoted it with a new stop motion animation.
I did watch that trailer that you linked to, Noel. That was mad.
Yeah, that's a fun little idea. It'll do this like to promote this partnership we're making. I don't know if they're going to make anything more out of that. It just seems like there's like cute mascots, I suppose, or whatever they're going to do with it. Yeah. But that's like, it's like Granny's like getting some big attention off of this now, and I think they hopefully will realize everyone. Just take this guy off to do his thing. He's great at what he does. Let's see where he comes up with next. Give him all the time and resources he needs. It's just really great, this we've got the kind of last decade now. We've seen, even that, like, it's 5 years really. This big uptick in stop motion being brought back into things. I guess maybe they have adherence of it, and maybe they're finding workarounds for some of the problems you often face with stop motion things. And it's becoming a little bit more. It's more that or the lunatics who are dedicated to it. That's a lot of it, I believe, as well. But it's getting out there, and I hope this trend continues long into the future.
Yeah, and there's also an explosion of merchandise now for the thing. I'm so glad that it's difficult to import stuff to the UK at the moment, because I would be all these funds I've been building up over the past year of not having to buy petrol. I would be blown on things like silk bomber jackets with Molcars on the back. Though, to be fair, VLADLOVE, if in terms of bomber jackets, VLADLOVE is the show for you. Every single character has their own bomber jacket, including the 3 lads in the karate club. If you like them so much, you can get a bomber jacket in their colours.
Oh, wow.
You were speaking to that person, because I am that douche. I'm setting money aside to maybe one day get one tailored in Japan whenever I'm allowed to go back there.
Yeah, there's the VLADLOVE merchandise is a little nuts as well, but it's not as diverse as the Molcar stuff. Nor does VLADLOVE have some sort of tie-in with a car insurance company. As Molcar's got now.
Oh man, it's just like, if we would get like some like commercials off of that, that means like there's potentially like Molcar content in perpetuity, you know. Oh, the future.
Then moving on, let me look here. It is now Dr. Stone Wars, episode 10, Humanity's Strongest Tag Team.
You think you know who that means, but you might be surprised.
It's Tsukasa and Senku, because Hyoga, he's a bad un. He's so bad, he'll even turn on Tsukasa. But first, before he can do that, we've got to dig Tsukasa's sister up. Which they do.
Before we pour the miracle fluid on her, they gotta put clothes in her, poke Senku's eyes out. It's like, you can't look at a naked girl. But yeah, they managed to do that pretty good, and everything's going super well. Yay. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Mission accomplished. Let's all go home and have some frosty chocolate milkshakes. I will invent some. Hey, Mirai, Tsukasa's little sister. It's me, Hyoga. You want to come down to the river with me? It's like, do not follow that man.
That's okay. Tsukasa's going as well. What could possibly go wrong? And as Chrome is counting the dynamite, it's like, hey, we're missing a bunch of dynamite. That's probably bad.
Blammo! There it is.
It's and it's real that I've forgotten her name now. The gymnast. Yes, she's escaped her cell. And robbed a bunch of dynamite and blown up the Miracle Cave.
Does Joe break her out because he's not aware of what's been going on?
I think he does, because
he wanders in.
Yeah, Yo is kind of a fucking moron of the situation. All right. I guess from his point of view, it looks like, because one of its mantle is guarding her, so it looks like the Kingdom of Science has captured her, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Magma's useless little buddy. He's a little yes man.
Yes, it's all his fault, probably.
I don't think we see much more of him in the series.
No, it's leaving behind.
Yeah,
go off and travel the world.
He's a fun little cartoon character, but we don't really have much use for him.
No, not past this point. So then they face off. They fall off. They fly off a river. The 3 of them do, down a waterfall. We discover that Hyoga had also already worked out where this river went to. We get a flashback of him pushing the cop off the waterfall.
If you survive, let me know.
Yeah, he's gonna. This is after Tsukasa has taken a spear to the lung, protecting his sister.
The only way he could make sure he could hit Tsukasa, like, even if I tried to attack you in your sleep, you'd probably fucking kick my ass. But if I try and stab her, you'll take the shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty shitty.
And then Hyoga tries to talk Senku over to his side, basically saying, well, yeah, Tsukasa's plan of Tsukasa's interpretation of what's happened. I agree with his interpretation, but I don't agree with his plan of only raising young people, because all we're going to end up with is a whole load of idiots.
Yeah. His thing was like, well, obviously, me and Tsukasa agree that humanity was frozen in order for the strongest to survive or the strongest to be revived. But that's dumb in terms of just young people, because young people are fucking dipshits. You and me, Senku, we could rule this fucking world. Join me, evil speech guy. Yeah. They could be humanity's strongest tag team.
Yeah, Senku admits Hyoga's logic is sound, but it doesn't excite him, so he's not going to go along with it.
No.
It's much more exciting to bring everybody back and we all figure out together how to get through this. And then as he's doing this talk, and he sees Tsukasa's fist clench, so he knows that Tsukasa's... Well, also he's been holding his wound while he's talking to Hyoga to basically, give him a chance to heal.
Yeah. Let some coagulation fucking happen, basically, yeah.
And then he starts throwing rocks at Hyoga, and Hyoga thinks this is silly and pointless.
This is super pathetic. I thought you were made of sterner stuff.
And then he grabs a whole load of rocks and throws them at them, and they start turning into swallows.
Surprise! Whereas again, for this magic trick, you'd love to see this.
And then he gets punched in the head by Tsukasa because that was a distraction.
You pierced my lung, but I can still just rush up and deck you.
He's still powerful as fuck. Yeah.
And then Tsukasa and Senku get their cool little moment when they're just gonna murder this guy by tag teaming him. And they do in various clever ways. And it's a lot of three men on the brink of sanity shouting at each other.
Yeah. It's pretty good, it's a good old trail of gunpowder. It's pretty good. And then Hyoga has to do his thing, whips off his cloak, and then this one whooshes around on the spear. It's like, it got counters for the counters.
And the thing of Senku getting his finger cut is a way to distract the fact that he's made his arm into a stun gun and all this kind of jazz. Just lots of, it's very, like you say, boys shouting at each other, a la shonen fighting type thing, but there's plans within plans, and it's fun to see it play out. And it's again a thing that takes several seconds, but takes the whole episode to talk about and explain what they're doing at any given second.
Just a protraction at the end where he's going through every step, because he's just reaching over to this zapping with his little finger, but he's just fucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure-esque, the fun detail. Yes. You smashed the radio before, and the radio is full of batteries, which when you can kind of rig up like this, and they're perfect also because they're flat discs and perfect like body armors. Why you couldn't stab me earlier?
And it's a good thing they weren't lithium, I think, because lithium would have exploded on stabbing. But these are... I've forgotten my different...
Manganese.
Yes, they're a different kind of battery. They're less prone to exploding, but less efficient than the batteries we use today.
And you're gloating by throwing the smashed radio in front of me. That's your own fault. You brought it on yourself. And as he's all explaining, Hyoga's eyes are getting wilder and wilder and more shocked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good framing in this as well. I especially like the framing of Hyoga against the moon. It's crescenting in a way that it doesn't on planet Earth, but to give him demonic horns, and I was like, that's nice. It's a good. Again, the show looks great. So.
But yeah, I never remember who plays Senku. Yusuke Kobayashi, but yeah, he does a lot of the work throughout the series in terms of just getting Senku's tone right. Of he does a cracking job with it.
For the laugh recently, actually, I checked out the English dub. The English dub is terrible. Senku's very a flat affectation. I was like, that's not gonna fucking sell it. Like you say, he's so important. I also checked out the French and German one. Those guys are great. They do the voice really good. They can move between tones very well. They all sound like Senku, if that makes sense.
The key thing to get across with Senku is he's all about the science, but it's just letting it build the kind of the genuine altruism and sentimentality kind of creep in there. It's just fun saying, I didn't do this for you. I did this for
I'm cold and cynical. Yeah, sure you are, buddy.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle thing, but yeah, when it's done well, as it is here, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Then it ends with Hyoga being shot, by the way, with the stun gun.
10,000
it ends
stun
on a
gun.
high five as Senku and Tsukasa crumple on the ground.
Yes. So
There's something about that fucking like not the high five, but like the five that's going along the side. That's just way fucking cooler, and they make it work.
Well, yeah, he's got a punctured lung. You probably don't want to be putting your arm up in that situation.
That's true as well. And they are both like completely like wrecked by the end of it. So yeah,
only high five was completely necessary, and this is necessary.
So is there just one more episode left of this? I'm just curious as how much we're gonna get of like hints of the next arc.
I feel like if they did 2, they could get like it set up to where it's gonna go next. But yeah, it kind of feels like it would only be one.
I can imagine like he's kind of can epilogue a little bit in the next episode, and then it's like, oh, we got to travel ahead to the next stage in our journey. This is only the beginning of it.
I did.
Because the arc is Stone Wars, and this is the end of that Stone Wars arc.
Yeah.
But like when it ends on this, isn't this is this part that goes like that's. Now we get to the not the epilogue.
Capitalism.
We do get the capitalism, but is the end of this arc where they kind of go, this is the end of the prologue.
That's correct. Yes, that's somebody. Somebody mentioned that in the comments this week, and that was blowing people's minds. They went. They're like, "There's more of this."
So much, so fucking much.
This is just the start.
We gotta defreeze the world, man. Come on.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, you're right. It is the end of prologue as the ending. I think that is how it ends. So that's probably where you leave it. Is at whatever that point is. Just because it's like a big we're excellent. You enjoyed this. We're only just beginning. It's going to get crazier from here on out.
Well, you knew it was starting to get legit when they were playing the second opening credits music song as Senku and Tsukasa are giving the business to Hyoga fans, and yes, and it shows credit because the second opening song was the best one.
yeah, it's pretty great.
Then we got Heaven's Design Team, episode 11, Idea 11, in which we pick up where we were on Galapagos, searching for the children.
Hey, Heaven's Design Team babies.
The first one they find is Mars and that guy from the insect department. The poor fella does not get a name, neither do all his mates.
I think they're just basically like bugs themselves, like clones of each other, essentially, or something.
Yeah.
But they find Mars with the insects guy, like going like, okay, he took a bunch of buns into his pocket. We saw that was important to the plot last episode. But they'll have also de-aged into the vegetable that they're made of. They're like a bean. Thank you, lima beans. And lima beans, when they're attacked, they put out a scent that attracts a predator that eats the thing that eats the lima beans. So if we make a pair of antennae that can detect those pheromones that the lima beans put out, and it's like, but that's only if he's eating them. It's like he's definitely eating them.
Yes, I agree.
Think of what we're talking about here. Even as a child, he would have that instinct.
Yeah, and it's true. He's caught halfway up a tree eating lima beans. So they find him, and then the rest of the lads all got put into a pool. And this is where the ticking clock is, because the problem is they were testing the new piranhas out. That's why it's the island set to jungle. So they gotta stay out of the water.
It's okay because they're vegetarian piranhas.
Oh, that's all right. But to get the full effect of it, they did put crocodiles in the water.
Also some carnivorous piranhas, because they spot the tails of the vegetarian piranhas have been bitten by the carnivorous piranhas. And they're like, well, that's okay. As long as you're not wearing any frilly, Pluto says, you'll be fine. And then they all stare at Pluto's frilly dress.
Dangerously.
Yeah. And then Mars is like, oh, not Mars. Mercury is like, I should have told you. I put crocodiles in.
to simulate it correctly, yeah.
They got onto this giant lily pad, which thankfully were not adults because it wouldn't support our way otherwise.
Well, that's okay, because Venus was drinking a tapioca tea, and the tapioca has turned back to whatever plant you make tapioca out of.
It's some kind of yam or potato or something. Yeah, but it is highly fucking toxic before you produce it. So just throw those into the crocodiles' mouths and poison them instantly, which is very funny.
And then what does Mercury do to make them go away after
that?
He makes the noise of a baby crocodile.
Social engineering.
Yes.
So you make it do like a baby crocodile call. Go,
and then the mother crocodile will come over, and then when the mother crocodile come over, the husband of the mother crocodile will say, "Hey, back away from my wife, motherfuckers," and get in a fight with all the other crocodiles.
Yes, so they're only left with the mother then, and then they're like, "Oh, what are we gonna do now?" And it's like, "That's fine." Neptune says, "I guess I could use this, the thing I was working on," and he takes the otter and hurls it into the air and turns it into a giant otter.
Fulfill his request for an otter that is not cute, which is the giant otter, which is a fucking crocodile eater, so that's fair enough.
Yeah, they're pretty scary.
yeah. Also, like when it's shown later in the episode next to all the other characters, it's just the size of a man just standing up. Terrifying.
Well, they're wondering what was that demon we were inventing last episode and we meant to send to people else. I think you found it. It's right there next to you.
Yeah, it's that otter. You could have just sent that to hell.
Oh, man. It's terrifying.
But we do see what happened to that demon, and it is a joke that took me a beat to get, and then I remembered...
like fax machine?
Yes, I remember what it's like to have a fax machine. I don't know if you don't know... if you've never had a fax machine, or had to use a fax machine, I'm not sure that joke works at all. But it's a great joke otherwise.
Yeah. I've only very rarely had to use a fax machine in the places that still used it, I guess, because like, can I just email it to you? It's like, no, fax it.
No,
some places are like that.
I had to really think back to like 1995, and
I'm talking like in 2000s. I was still fucking
using fax machines in 2000s, but we weren't getting that error with them. Whereas
I see
we were getting a lot in 1995 when I was working at Golden West. Also, because it was like a real one, so it wasn't just like sheets. And you'd get like the delay and the words would just stretch forever.
I saw that. I used to clean a lot of offices, and you'd see a lot of like bringing out the paper recycling and speed. Wasted the company paper budget on that one, buddy. What a shame that they seem to have resolved that design flaw just in time for packaging to become irrelevant.
Except in Japan. They are still used.
Just ball them all up on the cheap afterwards.
It's definitely a joke which still works quite well in Japan, from what I understand.
Yeah. I think they still do it, like in a lot of scripting things and everything. It's said that way.
Yeah, I hear a lot. There's podcasts listen to. There's one I have of a dude and his travails in Japan, and this is like from like back in 2015, 2016. He's just trying to get something like very basic done at the government office, and it's just like, okay, here's my blah blah blah, or at the bank. It's just, can you fax that to us? And say, no, I can't do that. Why are you still like this? It's just the way it's always been. We don't want to change.
Yeah.
Then in the second half, everyone's been invited to a party in hell. But Neptune's not going because he's got to work on his a spiky but fluffy animal for God.
Yeah. I love their attitude there as well. It's like, Neptune, just call in sick. Quit being a nerd. Call in sick and go to hell with us.
Yeah, I mean, like technically you're not feeling well because you have to finish this project and you got like creative blocks. So if you go and relax, it might get rid of your creative block and it might be perfect. So just get an extension from God. Just call it into God and he won't be able to call us because there's no reception in hell. Yeah. We're grand.
We'll cover for you. Let's come on to the party. Let's get trash.
And they brought loads of presents to hell because going to a dinner party, you should take presents. And they're all skulls.
I was thinking it's all a bit samey, but they all are cool skeletons, so I guess that's fine. Yeah.
Well, just kind of thought, you got this new place. We might want some decor for it. What do we have that would be suitable? It's skulls, and we get to learn interesting facts about skulls.
Yes, and it's also a gag on like where various myths came from people misinterpreting skeletons. Because they're like, oh, this is a cyclops. No, it's an elephant. But then that leads him to he's like congratulating them on the goat demon they sent him, but he's got some more work for them. He needs to make a messenger.
Yeah, we need a gopher demon. If you could just work on it, it needs to be small and quick, but like quiet and out of the way kind of thing.
And it's be able to transmit messages over long distances. Again, on the slides that the customers don't hear any of it. It's just like yes. How about we start from the skeleton? Let's work our way up from there. Let's put all the details you want inside that, and we'll see how we bolt onto the outside.
Like, I didn't guess this until the reveal, and I was like, oh, that's like a little imp or demon or goblin, obviously. By the weird sort of like, scrunched up skeleton.
Yes.
So that was really funny to me.
Yes, they make the skeleton, and then Neptune's like, oh, it's so easy for you, because Saturn, like, gets it done super quick. And he's like, oh.
Of course, he brought a fucking horse skull. It's like, here you go. That's the best I got.
Well, he does point out like you said, the interesting facts. Like, male horses have fangs. Apparently, I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Neptune's like, oh, it's so. I'm so sad because I know everyone's so happy to create, and I've got a mental block at the moment. And they're like, well, why don't you just do something for fun? Just hey, why not just make a skin for this skeleton? Just do whatever you like. You're in hell. And so he does, and he comes back with this incredibly cute rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, it's got the ears that are heat sinks for the exceptional muscles it needs to move very quickly. It does eat its poop. That's pretty gross and demonic and horrible.
Yeah. They can sense vibrations. They can communicate over long distances without
talking.
Without talking. And I suppose I was kind of thinking about it as well. Whenever they're making something for hell, what kind of legends they're associated with. I suppose there is some lots of folklore about rabbits and the weird things that they do. So I guess it's this tracks, I suppose.
They're very like witchy and in those kind of like older religions that eventually became demonic like religions. And they kind of point out, it's like, wait a minute, Saturn, doesn't this isn't this kind of like your thing from God? It's like, it's.
You're right.
And your man's like, I take the design, but if a client already requested it, I'm fine. Like, you leave it to God anyway. And wouldn't you know it? Actually, I've invited him in. He should be here in a few minutes.
That's the reveal after they try to send the message up, and then they remember, oh, you can't get a signal to heaven in hell. To
say that the thing has been fulfilled.
Yes, and so our cliffhanger is this golden light appearing behind a door. Are we going to finally see God in this show?
And will he be mad that you called in sick when you weren't sick and you went out to a party instead? Ooh, guess who's coming to dinner?
I don't know. I mean, like, this God seems very different from like an Old Testament type God. He seems pretty cool. He's not a great client, but he's okay. Yeah, he's fucking requested. Hey,
I've put all the foundation on here. I've made all the infrastructure. It's up to you now to take care of all the loose ends for me. That's why I hired you.
But if you didn't have the client much knowledge, their requests are annoying, you wouldn't have a fucking job. So you got to do it.
I started this company. I've done my work. What can you do for me?
And then we get the science bit about rabbits eating poop, and like they're like, oh, so they eat the special poop to communicate. Yes, but eventually they just started eating the other poop as well when they were hungry. When they're hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you guys space out those animals eating shit facts, we just had one last episode.
Yeah.
It's gross. It's interesting. You'd be surprised when animals do it, but that's.
I think they were going for the omnivore thing because it's the final reveal. And when they really struggle for food during the winter, they'll eat corpses as well.
I like the way Saturn's is like, I made this cute animal. It's also kind of horrifying though. His designs are good, but then they always do things that he doesn't expect them to fucking do that isn't in his design style of cute.
Neptune, by the way.
Well,
Neptune.
Sorry.
Neptune's the cute one. Saturn's the horse one.
Apologies. I keep mixing up.
But his whole thing, and I welcome it. It's like, all those cute animals you see on Instagram or social media, what a cute little account to follow. Yeah, this thing will devour its young. It's so cute, though.
Yeah.
I also really like the science thing with the piranhas, where it's like, oh, don't worry, so piranhas won't actually bite you. They actually just bite off bits of the tail, and they'll go for you. It's like, oh, so they don't go for you. It's like, no, not unless you're bleeding. Then they might get excited and bite you. And you know what else they can do? They can bark. Oh, why do they bark? Because that's a warning that they're going to bite you. It's like fucking piranhas won't bite you, except for all the times that they will. It's like they're not as dangerous as they seem, but they're still very dangerous. Yeah. Wah, wah.
Now, do tell me about Jujutsu Kaisen episode 23, The Origin of Blind Obedience 2. There's a lot of numbers in that title.
You. 3 death painting brothers. There's so many of them. Yeah, they're going to take it first, get some fun, sweet action as usual. We're expectant of this naturally, but still a pleasure to see it when it happen. Because it's just like kind of jumping around. Itadori's fighting the first cursed painting that snuck in, and then Kugisaki and Fushiguro are taking out the curse that came here to exercise. And it's just looks super sweet. It's like seeing Kugisaki get something to do as well. Then we get to want to see more of her in the previous arc. It's kind of if here's to make up for all that, here's her whizzing nails around into things. But it seems super easy. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, they figure like basically the way this whack-a-mole fucking one is played, it's way lesser a tough curse than they thought it would be. So it's just like, we can probably afford to split our numbers here. Nothing should be a problem. So unfortunately, she gets pulled out of the what do you call it? The curse field? I can't remember the name of it.
The domain.
The main, she's getting pulled out of the main while he is turned around, and he's just like, no, I better run and save you, and she's just like, just get it fucking done. I'll take care of whatever's fucking pulling me out of here. She just takes it like a pro, which is pretty nice. And
it's just, I like how as well. It was she got pulled into like a portal again. Like, you're thinking that, and then Fushiguro is like, she got pulled into a portal again. That happens to her a lot.
She's got to watch herself for falling into portals a bit more. Yeah.
Itadori follows him out as well. And saying, dude, remember what happened last time? I remember what happened last time, Itadori, but it's different this time. It's much easier in here. It's gonna be. I don't know what's happening out there. You gotta get out there.
I can take care of the inside of here and finish off exercising it. Yeah.
It's grand. If it turns bad, I'll run. Don't worry about it. And say, okay, man. And he takes care of the curse in there in short order. Like, no problem at all. He's like, fun. Yep, job well done. The man's gonna come down any second now. Any second now. Nope.
Wait a minute. There's one big lump left. What's the deal with this big lump? And it spits out a lad, one of those laughing, giggly. Is it like a manifestation of Sakina's fingers? Or...
Yes, it's exactly as last time. It's like, so this is what the actual source of it is. And it's just why both. Okay, this is tied to that, but why is it kicking off now? Like, idiot. The victim started dying like back in July, a few months back. That's the same month that Itadori swallowed that finger and manifested Sukuna inside himself. And now it's resonated, as we know curses do, with the ones across the country. And that's what Sukuna's vibe does. It triggers everything else. So it's just, that's what it is. And it's like, fuck us, I'm gonna hold us off, Or he's trying to, he's to get back again to training with Gojo, because he saw how Itadori's kind of progress. He felt like, I got to catch up with that. It was like, Fushiguro, you got talent, you got the skill, but your head's all wrong, man. Your head's all wrong about this. Like, what are you talking about? When think about the baseball game, you're a good at bat there, but rather than just go for a swing at it, you went for the sacrifice bunt to get Nobara onto the next base.
And it's it's great. Like, baseball's a fucking team sport, much like fighting curses is a team sport. You're helping out your buddies to get the job done, but it's like Itadori just went for the fucking home run, and he got it. So sometimes you got to take the risk to fucking win rather than just survive, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't think you gotta catch up to him or do the same way he does, or he does it this way. I can't do it. It's like, no, that's a way to get killed. And that's just fun limiting your growth. You can't even imagine yourself getting better at this because you can't imagine doing it right. You won't even get as good as Nanami that way. So let's give it a little flick in the head. Just do something for yourself. Be a little bit selfish. And it's like Fushiguro. So it's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. Here's a little something I've been working on. Domain expansion.
And it's like half finished and everything, but the frogs keep holding down that curse manifestation, and he's just kicking its ass while it's getting held in place.
Yeah, it's really good to see. Like, it's just to go like the facades that are dropping, not the facades. It's like, it's like kind of he's
just him getting like
you feel like
emotionally
he's on all the time. He's gotta be composed. He's gotta be the guy keeping it together. No, fuck it. I'm gonna fucking this like all loose now. He's got some good maniacal faces there, even though he's bleeding out of his nose, he's trying to put this domain together. But yeah, it works, and he actually refines it as the fight goes on. It's just able to manifest multiples of all the Shikigami. He's got fucking new ways flying around, dropping the lightning on it. And I kind of like that's all kind of good spectacle there, but the curse is false. Like a simple little backstab, just gotta throw him off balance just long enough and get him from behind. Still that kind of sneakiness, the kind of that sleight of hand getting worked in there. And that finishes it off then, and then as he collapses and falls by slipping into unconscious, he's just thinking back to the school with his sister, and what a terror he was back then, getting into fights and beating up all everybody, discussing about the social contract. You don't come and attack me, I won't come and attack you. That's how things work. And his sister's kind of disgusted with him and saying, hey, stop getting into fights. It's like fun, whatever. He's a big hypocrite anyway. But he's not. He's doing it for other people because there's nerds who are like, they're standing by for and saying, I'm not going to be bullied anymore. Hey, all the bullies got beaten up. Who did that? It's like, making me fucking acting like you're just this cold, attached character, but you really care about people, but it's at your own expense.
But as our girl is pulled out, she meets some weird, creepy dude, and he's like, hey, I'm a sorcerer as well. I assume you're here for the same thing I am? Yeah, we're here for the finger, and they can both sense it when the thing goes down. He's mostly just trying to talk her out of it. It's like, I'm just gonna hop backwards. Is that cool? Don't nobody look at my back. I got an issue about my back. That kind of horror monster. But wouldn't you know it, his brother and Itadori are kind of right behind him. It's like, hey, what's going on over there? And it's like, motherfucker,
what's up with your back?
What's up with your weird ass back with a face on it? That makes him go a bit spare, all right. So yeah.
Looking forward to seeing old Esso turned up now. You see, like Kechizu, who's the first one we saw, is like a kind of green monster man, weird faces on him. But then Esso, think what are they called? There's one male dancers.
Chippendales?
Chippendales, that's it.
Yeah. I think it's definitely going with that kind of thing. All right. That should be fun, and it looks like it's going to be. Again, that's mostly what we're getting in these episodes, like a bit of character growth and development, and just fun interactions. But like really, just gorgeous looking fights. Just really like interesting physicality as well, because they can do the domain expansion that makes a very interesting space from which to fight in.
Yeah. It's just cool to see Fushiguro able to kind of let loose as well. Again, like he had some cool bits in the last arc as well, but he didn't really kind of get the win because the curses intervened and he didn't get to see him. Like he couldn't take him down. Like just to see them, just one turn it loose and see if they can do as well. Like Itadori is, he has what he's got going on, but like Fushiguro, he's gotten as far as like manifesting a domain, which is like really from high level up. Like, not even a lot of the grade 2 or grade 1 guys above him can manage that just yet. So.
Yeah. And our Jujitsu stroll it's a hot day, and they don't want to do nothing, but Itadori shows up. It's like Fushigoro's getting hit by a lady. It's like Form Alpha squad. And they're just sort of running at him like in order to interfere with some lady trying to pick him up by all pretending to be his boyfriend and girlfriend. That's their plan to cock block him.
Gojo's got to go all the way. It's like, Megumi, what are you doing out gallivanting at this hour? We gotta come back home for your violin lessons.
Oh, he's really playing up the sexy thing. It turns out it was just a lady asking for directions, so bit of a wasted effort, but worth doing and very funny.
But that one is as well. What I loved about it is like, we're a team of ghost hunters. but we're also just really fucking shitty teenagers.
Including the adult that is teaching them is also a shitty teenager.
That's never being left by the wayside and saying, yeah, this is the way they are. That's never going to be not a factor in. Because a lot of Jujutsu sorcerers, and as I said earlier on, they're not necessarily nice people. They're
normal people. They're all weirdos.
It's going to seem shitty.
So they'll have done 64 chapters in 24 episodes by the end.
Wow. Not bad.
No. So I think they could just get. I'm looking at how many episodes that are in the next arc. The next arc's a short arc, but then the following arc is 57 chapters long, or whatever it is. They could probably just about squeeze them both in another season. Or maybe just have 2 more episodes and then they'll be fine if it was 26 episodes rather than 24.
The short arc could be 2003 or 4, and then you have the rest of the remainder for getting into that.
The Shibuya incident. And then they'll run out of material. Cause...
then
they'll have to wait up considerably longer between seasons.
By the sound of it, you're going to delay for a bit anyway. I think Gege Akutami was saying that he can foresee the comic ending in 2 years, but that's entirely his decision to make either.
You might be like, fucking spin this a little longer. It's the most popular thing going. Yeah.
So perhaps depending on how it winds up, they could maybe at that end of that Shibuya arc, you got a bit of a gap and you got something else to fill it until towards whatever it ends.
Yeah. I imagine might want to look at a movie as well of some kind. I imagine might be an idea based on how well Demon Slayer did at the flicks.
Well, there's so many kind of like gaps of time in here. I was like, who would say there wasn't like another curse? So there wasn't another cursed relic, that manifested the demon.
Or you can just make a job that is a movie length. Yeah.
Want more panda? We got more panda.
Righty-ho. Then we're on to... With a dog and a cat, every day is fun, episode 23. This is one of the ones where there was like loads of little bits in it.
Yeah, it was jam-packed, all right.
To the point where I'm trying to remember. I remember the best gag, but that's right in the middle. Is it playing with the dog, or is it the pill first before playing with the dog? I can't remember which order it is.
The pill was, I think she drops the pill.
I think that might be the first thing, is her dropping.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Having to.
And you just have to wrestle the dog because the dog's like, I hear fucking sweets for dog.
Then it was you could play with the dog without you even needing any toys.
And you can play with the cat in the same way, but then the cat expects to be paid for its services.
Yes, we are good. We are finished playing. Feed me now.
Transaction is concluded.
And is it then the futon bit?
That's the last one, I think. That is pretty fun. Or I can't remember. Like they were so fucking bam, bam, bam with cat and dog jokes.
Yes, the futon bit was my favourite bit, which was
the cat's disgusted.
Yes, because she thinks she's doting on the cat. The futon. But then the futon and the cat the futon's not sitting in the doorway. The cat's sitting in the doorway, looking disgusted at her behaviour. And now I can't remember what the last bit is, because there is another bit with the cat after that.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, no, it's a very good short.
Yeah, it's a goddamn machine gun of gags. But yeah, it's just the futon one stuck in my mind of just like. It's the fact you get the animated cat's disgusted face, and then you get the real cat's disgusted face.
I get one or sometimes when my photos that they take of the cat, it's like, walk backwards from the story. What would provoke this reaction in the cat?
That'd be a good way to do it.
Let's take a look. Maybe the playing bit was the last bit, actually. That looks like what it was. We've got it in the wrong order.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the food, then the futon, then the playing with the dog, then playing with the cat. So we had got it all remembered, just not necessarily in the right order.
It was so fast we were working backwards, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no Detective Conan's us. on to the next thing, which I believe is Back Arrow, episode 11. Is this a head-to-head fight? Is it? What is it now?
Depends on your interpretation of head-to-head.
It's war.
You know the way like they keep saying is like your man was like, oh, I was so ashamed I shot you when I thought you were a bird and that kind of thing. And like in this episode, it was like, oh, it's all my fault. He declared war on us. I went back and watched that episode. He declares war on us like, hey, I'm gonna fucking invade you in like 1 day, so you got a day to prepare or surrender. And then she turns into a shitty person and provokes him. It's like, but he was already going to invade.
He's coming anyway.
Like, stop everyone taking the blame retroactively for things that you didn't do, or do take the blame for when you shot someone thinking they were a bird.
Well, he did take the blame.
It's weird.
He's not even worth insulting because he won't get back into his armor and fight.
Yeah, if he's so sorry, then get into this and make amends for it that way.
Yeah.
Still doesn't fucking add up to me because they play a little flashback again. He's from like smiling fairly like contentedly as he fires off that laser crossbow.
Weird. I mean, like maybe it's like, haha, I meant to kill you back then. And I was like, yeah, that's what it looked like whenever time they show that replay.
Your blonde fella convinces the princess not to reveal that she's got an evil personality, that she's trapped inside a bind warper. And this makes the Harlequin who works for Rudolph most happy.
Yes. For the good of the land.
So we don't get Rudolph this episode, we just get the Harlequin who passes information between Rudolph and the outside world.
No, I use it as my background. We get one shot of Rudolph randomly just in his fucking black domain, and it's just like, it's like, why did you show me that? Just to scare me? What
can't overuse it. He's gotta keep him in reserve. He's going to be our boy for as long as rolls on.
So the flying robots are going to meet the main force against Wrecker, while the Grand Edger will go off to this other location where they fully expect to run into Kai.
Point. Like they say, like, this is the weak point, so he's not going to attack that. He has to absolutely defeat your country, so he's going to attack you at your strongest point. And it's like, yes, we wouldn't expect him to attack our strongest point, but you guys go to our weak point just in case. But the actual thing is like, they're totally going to attack the weak point as well.
Of course, as they're on the way there, Shuby's like, well, this war's going to leave both these countries in a right old state. So what we should do after the war is, Back Arrow, you should become the king of both countries.
And he's kind of like, I just want to fucking go past the wall. I don't give a fuck about ruling this place. I'm only teaming up with them because these are my friends. But I owe them.
Well, like, no, it's sort of on you that this war began almost, because things were kind of fine, and then they failed, and then you show up, and the order of the balance of the world is in complete upheaval. So,
and he's like, I didn't want to fucking unbalance the order of the world. I just want to go through the wall. And it's like, that unbalances the world. You're not supposed to question the premise of the show.
If we've got both countries on our side, then we can use the might of Wrecker and the mind of what's the other country? Luto. And together with them, they should be able to put those things together. Should be able to get through that wall. Be able to defeat the wall.
And Shu did rob 2 bind warpers from, I think they were the constructed bind warpers, because your man was trying to make his own bind warpers. And he's like, oh, your research is really interesting. So the stuff that runs under the world is the same stuff that bind warpers run on.
Yeah,
so it's a very
nanomachines. Nanomachines, of course they are. And there's particles of pure conviction.
Yeah, it's almost like the whole world is made up for this whole fucking weird experiment that's going on.
That was what I'm thinking now. Is that wall one big bind warper?
Yeah, but that would suggest there's a hole in it. But yeah, probably something along those lines. Yeah, or in a similar way, everything's trapped within that, in the same way that like the evil princess, is trapped in the bind warper or something like that.
I was just thinking about now. There's going to drop all of these things in here. Let's like come out from the angle that this is some experiment from the outside. Let's say this whole world and if we're going to say the wall is one big bind warper, they're going to poise people and decide one up, but one will never leave. Or say to want to see one never win out over the other. So there'll be one conviction that rules over all, and that conviction will activate that bind warper and makes like some kind of planet-sized Brightheit.
Could be some completely
considering who's writing it, that seems a fairly reasonable assumption. Anybody else, you'd
We haven't even gotten to the ship turning into a robot yet, but like fucking yeah, ridiculous.
Oh, like make it big enough, like a binaural, you can just pass the grand ledger through and the turret into something bigger.
Sure.
Yeah, I did like him with the other
Oh,
scientist of like him arguing and then coming around to Shu's point of view.
It just kind of distracts him with this like interesting detail he overlooked, and then while he's immersed in that, just pockets two of the binaural warpers that he made.
Like he's rewriting the programming for one. He's like, "Hey, don't rewrite the fucking code for that. I spent ages on that." It's like, yeah, but if you do it like this, it'll work like with higher efficiency. He's like, "Oh, it fucking does." And if I do that, it'll even help more. And he's like, he's gotten into
and
it.
there's
now.
only
It's
two
just
people those binaural warpers
distract
can
him
be
with
worn by,
science.
isn't there now? Left. There's It's a bit and Shu B are going to be the ones who are wearing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they meet with Kai and Ren, and they get into a fight, but Ren's the one who's going to fight him, and we get to see her Brightheit.
Pretty cool kind of green ninja one.
With one green mecha boob.
Well, that net has like mecha hair going over one eye, same as her. Like it's very much so her as a Brightheit. Yeah.
And yeah, she's really annoyed at Back Arrow. And eventually...
How dare you dishonorably not kill me? I'm going to fucking suicide this.
Which Kai's not keen on either. So
yeah.
Yeah, she blocks his blow to Kai. Because basically he just throws her off and then goes off to fight Kai. Because Kai's trying to fight the Grand Edger. Because Kai's really annoyed that Shubi won't come out and fight him himself. And Back Arrow loses Ren, comes back and says, "Don't you understand? He is fighting you head to head. This is the way he fights head to head, is by coming up with plans and attacking you from a distance."
Yeah, his strength versus your strength.
Like this is a head to head fight, right? I'm gonna because I can fly now. I'm gonna pick you up from real high, then drop you, and as you're dropping, he's gonna shoot you with Grand Edger, and then I'm gonna pick you up again and just keep fucking dropping you. That's
air juggle combos, the scrub moves. Just need to be patched out.
And Yuan's like, this isn't head-to-head fighting. It's like it's how he does it. So,
I did love how useless Kai was at this fight, because he just assumed that everybody had stayed the same level after the last fight.
Well, also he assumed they'd fight fair, which is like, why?
What did you learn from last time? No, it's not gonna work.
Like we learned we can't beat you in a straight fight, so we're gonna fucking cheat.
Come on, guys, rules of engagement.
But yes, they're not. But yeah, so Ren tries to blow him up, so he has to come out of Back Arrow, stop her. She stabs him in the hand, and he tells her to think about her life and her decisions, and that's led her to doing sneaky shit like trying to blow people up and pull a knife on them in a mecha fight.
I love how pissed off he is, really. You know, isn't this about the kind of the indignation about why you throw your knife away like this? It was like, fucking, she's kind of saying, yeah, you fight this time. I fight this time. You fucking come up with me with fun, pull on this comedy shit. The fuck out of my face. It's kind of just one fucks the knife away to one side. It's the disdain in his voice. His fucking body language is really good.
And then in the background, Kai just collapses.
He's had a rough day.
And they retreat, and they've taken the Grand Edge has taken control of that area. And then Shubi's like, "Why didn't you kill Kai?" And he's like, "Well, you want me to be the king, don't you? I need to make friends with everybody." And I was like, "Yeah, he's fucking Gentaro from Kamen Rider Falls. He wants to make friends with everybody."
There's no point in killing powerful people because when I'm king, he'll be working for me.
Don't want to kill future allies.
Yeah. And she was thinking, like, you know, I can plan and plot and scheme, but I can't plan around this dude all the time. He's just going to do this kind of shit.
He's going to
friendship. What's that?
What's the thing that the Emperor's attacking, like, the main gate or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
The closest distance between the kingdom.
There's a sweet battle going on there as well. I can see some of the generals. I love, like, the Western general. He's cool, Dragon Brightheit.
There's some nice designs there. He's got some crazy thing. It was like, I will cut down everything or something like ridiculous.
Fighting spirit travels quickly.
Right, yeah. So he's got like an infinitely long spear by the look of it.
Sweet. When Brax's Brightheart has got some cool shit going on as well, because that cape isn't just for show. It's also like the fun fin funnels from Gundams just float around shooting lasers.
Yeah. I was thinking one of those drone things from Gundam as well. So that was pretty cool. What's the reason the Emperor decides to? Oh, it's like, okay, everyone take 5.
It's because he knows Kai's. But he wants Fide to come out with her. So I think he knows what's going on with. I think Rudolph's in contact with both sides.
Yeah, playing both sides.
But he also apologizes to Prax for making a sneak attack because he's also vulnerable. Because he uses the advantage of the smoke that her attacks have generated to use his blade and basically catapult her back to the capital.
As a warning, basically pinning her to the palace.
To tell Fide that she needs to. And we see Fide staring at her dark bind warper. Will she have to use the evil side of her personality to end this war?
Emperor's got a good arm. He really puts his leg into. It was a good pitch, you know. We've been watching a lot of baseball animation lately. It was a good cycle he's got there. Suppose he needed to be to fucking launch for 500 miles away or wherever it was.
Yeah, he gets a lot more doing in this episode than he usually did. Before they went off to war, he was like, "All right, guys, follow me," and he hops on a random motorbike and just jets off. And they're like, "Emperor, that's not a royal."
Leave him be. Look how happy he is. He's super psyched about that.
Yeah, I think we know from his duel with the rebel leader. He's hands-on in the way the Prime Minister is not. And the way Shubi is not as well. But I imagine Shubi will eventually be hands-on, and we'll see what his conviction looks like.
My conviction is to fucking cheat till I win.
Optical camouflage, he's going to be fucking moving around, can't see me, poke you in the back.
And actually managed to operate the missiles eventually.
I mean, like, it was a pretty easy target. Your man can't fly. He's just falling.
Even Atlee had a goal. And I love at that stage as Reynolds is going, he's fucking turned his Brightheart into the sword. This guy keeps breaking the rules. I don't know what to do. Our world youth is like falling down around him.
I assume the Emperor broke off because he knew that Kai had fallen, and now he doesn't know. He's got to be like, okay, we've got to hold off now in case the Grand Duke is going to do something like attack the capital while we're here.
Position, basically.
He was just
take
hungry.
Over our capital.
He isn't trying to reassure them, man. He's just hungry.
Which could, of course, just be a long-term plan Shubi's had. Like, they all come out to attack the other country, and then we sneak back in and take over Rekka. Because I'm still suspicious about the guy who's taken over Shubi's position as being part of some long-term plan that Shubi's got. It's the beard. It's that little bit where they were pointedly ignoring each other as they went past one time, and I was like, that was suspicious. Like they were giving each other a secret information just by their glances.
Or they had to just open disdain for each other. Well, they probably would never work together, right? But this push your perception that one direction.
Back arrow is so enjoyable.
It's really fun. It's really like got up to like a good crest here. I suppose we're getting to a midpoint of some kind, or a big kind of pivot point of some kind. Anyway, so it's going to ramp up. I mean, we got a full-scale war going on, and what more do you want?
Yeah, I'm curious if the flip everything on its head point will be at exactly the same episode as it was in Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, because. Which I think is end of episode 16. In both of those are the everything you know is wrong moment.
Yeah, I think as well. This of course we're getting some sweet robot action, and they've started. They're naming their Brighthearts as well. It's like this feels like last very throwback giant robot kind of series here, but with these more modern kind of things kind of bolted onto us. It's like, this is familiar, but it's doing things that just like it feel fresh, you know. Isn't just like a distance thing or worse. It's been long enough since I've watched one of these. it feels new again to me. But it is genuinely bringing something of its own to the recipe.
Yeah, and it's not just the I mean, like, not that super robot shows always haven't been about your conviction being how you win, but like literally making that like a plot point and like part of the world building. I'm just like, yeah, I'm interested to see what they're doing with that.
Then we've got Skate the Infinity, Part 10. Dap not needing words.
This bumps some of the soul, man.
Which a lot of stuff happens in order to get us to the position I assumed was gonna. I wasn't expecting it to be involving Shadow being beaten about with a baseball bat to get us to where the story.
That was unexpected. I mean, like, he also didn't get expected beaten with a baseball bat in a parking lot.
Now, they did see that guy in an earlier race and in the back of the scene there, so it wasn't like he came out of nowhere.
It was good, though. Like, it's like, oh, he's not a main character. We're not worried about him. It's like, oh, no, but I mean, like, that shit that Shadow did still fucking affects him. Yeah. And I guess he does, in his own way, get to prove that he's a strong man by protecting the flower shop owner. So that's cool. I mean, like, taking a baseball bat to the head is pretty fucking tough.
Yeah. What's it? Tadashi defeats Mia in their race. So Mia's out. Tadashi gets ahead. Adam's already planning the wedding between him and Langa. He hears wedding bells.
Yeah, but he's kind of like watching the footage, and yet Langa looks out of it. What's up with Langa? I need to study the footage more. Yeah.
There's a lot of people deceiving themselves in this episode.
Oh yeah, so many.
Yeah, even your fella Snake is like, I'm gonna take skateboarding away from him.
Because he's thinking, like, the way he's like is like, I taught him how to skateboard because it was a good escape from him and he's shitty fucking upbringing, but that's not a thing he can share with like a fancy kid or anything. It's very like, the underprivileged classes skateboard. It's for the regular peons. And it's like, okay, if he just stopped skateboarding and he got a new hobby, then he'd be happy. Oh yeah, that would fix everything. But
yeah, well, it's the idea that he's doing something illegal deliberately to self-sabotage himself, so his aunts will tell him off. I think that is.
Yeah, he's trying to get them to show him love by making them angry at him. That is how they show love. They beat the shit out of him. He's all.
But he also likes skateboarding. That's the bit which Snake hasn't got around his head. Is that Adam also, as well as that bit, the bit about sabotaging his political life, he also loves skateboarding.
That's probably like, and Adam doesn't understand that. Obviously, like you say, not understanding yourself. He doesn't understand. It's like, no, he genuinely does like skateboarding. It's probably the only thing that is a genuine of his.
Yeah, I mean, before he internalized that twisting of love, of affection, it's just like, I imagine the skateboarding was his release and escape from out of that house, from out of that situation.
And that's gotten twisted up with it.
In fact, we do get like the most sensible thing anybody has said in this series with the shop owner saying to Reki, "You know, S isn't the only way to skateboard. There are other skateboardings you can do that don't involve going to an illegal road race."
Yeah, and he's kind of like, I know I can't compete with those fucking guys, but like, I'm not doubting what I'm able to fucking do. And like, as we keep pointing out, Reki is like, hey, if it wasn't for you, Langa wouldn't be into skateboarding. He wouldn't be able to ollie. You wouldn't have met him a deck so he could practice on, specifically like with like a foot rest and everything like that. It was just like, he wouldn't skateboard without you. And he enjoys skateboarding with you because you're his friend.
We also have to establish, though, that the reason he likes skateboarding with Langa more is because we get to meet the guys he used to skateboard with. And they're a bad lot.
Drinking in the alley and smoking and crouching and being delinquents.
Also beating the shit out of him. So that's not great either. Yeah.
And then he gets hit by a car.
Like... There's several points where he's like, him and Langa should just talk. He goes to visit Shadow in the hospital. It's like, I don't want to talk though. But because he doesn't want to talk to Langa. It's not that he doesn't want to visit Shadow in hospital after getting beaten in a parking lot. But when he wakes up in a love hotel, he's like, oh no, what's happening? That was kind of funny. It's like, dude, can you not be creepy for like once in your life?
Yeah, you get the feeling as well that Tanahashi this is his first time doing this because it's like, hey, you get hit by a car, but you want to get a bruise. You got right back up again. Let's just settle this out of court right now. I don't need this kind of attention on myself or my client, please.
Yeah, he does the dirty cleaning up stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yes, his rejection of skateboarding is what finally brings Reki to his senses. As he tries to convince Reki. But he's basically, it's almost like he's reciting the speech he has ready for Adam to Reki. But yeah, Reki's having none of it. And this is what gets himself together as soon as he can find his way out of this love hotel to go and finally speak to Langa.
How do I check out of here?
How do I check out of here? Do we have to pay at the desk? Oh fuck. Mister, you gotta help me out. Yeah. And even when he eventually catches up to Reki and they have their like, we gotta work this thing out. It's like, I'm not good with words. What are we gonna, how do I say this?
Let's just skate, man. Let's just tell it to our boards.
Yeah, I did like him. Like, yeah, it's just teenage boys. They're not going to have the right words, so it's so much better that they just it all gets resolved clumsily.
Just like make it clear to each other that you're both apologizing for the shit that you did and said or didn't say, and then you're fine because you're two awkward fucking teenagers and you don't know how to do this. Even adults half the time don't know how to do that shit. I mean, like, that's obviously the problem with like Joe and Cherry and shit. Probably
with pretty much every single character in the show.
Probably. Shadow, you could just ask her out, I mean.
Then there wouldn't be a series.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I mean, like, to be fair, that is very human to just like not fucking say the thing you're feeling.
It's just like, well, that's the thing. Like, we can say all this thing. No, it's so obvious, but we've done all of these things all of our lives. Everybody.
And at least it's emotional stuff. It's not like, oh, here's a fact you need to tell somebody, and because I'm not telling you this fact, the plot happens. Yeah. So it's not like that sort of bad writing.
And I get it with Reki. Like, it's the thing of where you feel like you're competing with other people, where you're not. The thing that he likes about skateboarding is he likes it. It's fun. It makes him happy. It's just like you don't have to be better at it than other people to enjoy the thing that you like, which seems like a very obvious fucking thing. But like, whenever you start comparing yourself up to someone else, you're obviously going to come up short. There's obviously going to be someone better than you in most given situations.
Also, obviously, somebody watching you with a drone and deciding to throw you into his murder skateboard tournament.
I see. I have a love rival. Well, that just makes the romance more interesting.
Homewrecker.
Even when he's watching footage of him earlier, he's like, "Who the fuck is this redhead guy?" I was like, "Dude, you had a beef with him like a couple of weeks ago."
No, nobody knows what it is. The sole red-haired person who regularly turns up to this.
Maybe red hair is really common in the skateboarding scene. I'm not sure. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, we got to add like another little thing to our secret handshake, man. Let's go fun. Bap bap. Like, whoa, because we're gonna be doing this ad infinitum, man.
Yeah.
You and me.
And they both kind of laugh because it's kind of dumb, but that's fine. They're still teenagers, and that's an appropriate response to the silly fucking cool handshake they've come up with. Yeah. It's good stuff. I like you say, it's kind of like silly and awkward and could have been resolved easy, but it feels more realistic, and especially like for fucking teenage boys and shit. Yeah. Emotionally stunted motherfuckers, basically.
There's a familiar feeling of inadequacy. I think you encounter that at any age. And it's how you deal with it. And this is like pretty common sense stuff. Yeah, but like, you're not them. You never will be. So let's fucking try and do what you can in your own way. And if you're sincere and earnest about it, then you'll enjoy it. And that's what it's about. You're here to enjoy something, right? And talk to people and meet them and have crack. That's what this is about.
It could be worse. Your dad could be a dragon knight trying to destroy mankind. And that brings us to Dragon Quest.
You've all been
The Adventurer Die, episode 24, Dragon Master Baran.
I can't believe Baran is Dai's father.
What?
That's crazy. Also, I gotta agree with Baran. I think Dino is a way fucking better name.
That's the dog on the Flintstones.
I know, that's why it's a funny name to give a kid.
Hey, Dino. Hey, I love all blue. I love all blue eyes. I know that's Frank Sinatra. Yes, of course. But oh boy.
Yeah.
But it's fun, the fun as well, like Baron saying, "Ah, yes, you resemble your mother in a way." It's like, how? How does he resemble his mother? He looks like you. You have the same fucking eyebrows.
She was small and round and muscular.
We
I
see
guess
her
I don't know.
She had like a big scar across her cheek.
No, she doesn't really look like him. It's a weird one. I guess he smiles.
That's it.
That's more like the mother.
No, it's because he glows. He's like the sun, and her name is Solar, as if you didn't get it.
Yeah. There was the other thing I loved of Hyunkel, like walking through the thing. Is like, will you help me bury my brother? He was fighting Baran, and they were evenly matched in swordplay. But then he shot a fucking laser out of his face, and it's bullshit. And it's like, yes, let me pull the body out. Wait, he's got a laser hole in the shape of the dragon mark. What could this mean? And he's just trying to put it together like a fucking really shitty detective when we can just watch the episode and go like, it's fucking obvious, dude.
Well, I said, what a tragic end for the knighthood of Carl.
Carl was the toughest kingdom. What? Carl
I don't know. That could be a genuine name of a place, but I'm always amused with this here, like, you know, and it's obviously this fantasy thing. So it's like, yes, the kingdom of Carl. I think like in Mazen Kaiser, like Dr. Hell's big robot is called King of Hell Gordon.
He has to have a name.
The incongruousness of it just always amuses me.
And I wonder whether that's taken from Flash Gordon, and I wonder whether Baron here is taken from Prince Baron from Flash Gordon. The timing's right for
King Verd, King Verd.
So does that mean he'd be Timothy Dalton in the live action?
I mean, he's got the mustache. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so as Crocodile Men as well, isn't there, in Flash Gordon stuff?
Of course. So what's his pop? Is he from Dr. Zoltan, Dartan, or whatever?
Well, his attack's called. I missed that his new attack's called Donk in the last episode. And then I couldn't get the put a donk on it song out of my head again.
Yes.
Pop, put a donk on it.
I've used all my MP in that spell. I can't do it again. No more donks. But he's just walking through. It's just like, well, you're slowing him down, Pop. You gotta give yourself that at least. You gotta give us time to get the heels going from Leona.
Like, he's out loud going like, "What? My most powerful spell that killed 3 dragons." And I was like, "This guy's like the Dragon Lord."
I mean,
and he says it's like, "I can't be weaker than the things I'm the Lord
Baran
of, idiot."
as the kids would say,
like
OP. In that, as it turns out, his spells do not affect him. And then if he chooses then to put his sword away and use his dragon power, physical attacks also don't affect him.
So cool.
Also, you can shoot a laser out of his face, so that's not great.
Yeah, Crocodile has a go because Crocodile turns up or Crocodile Dad is here. Who says, "I can't beat him." The only thing that can beat him is, like, you know, you just got to fucking just overpower him completely. That's the only thing that gets true. I'm gonna try anyway. I'm
pretty sure I can't do it, but I'm gonna give it a lash.
The bit when Pop is like so pleased to see Crocodile, is like grabs his hand as if to get some sort of reassurance, and then notices that his fist is trembling, and it's like, oh shit, even Crocodile's afraid of this guy. But the best bit is the soap opera with the monsters back at the monster capital, and Hadlar having to bet on Die winning this fight.
Never thought I would get behind this little bastard, but come on, kid, pull through for me. Put it out of the bag.
When they're watching, like,
I'm out of a job here.
When they're watching the Dark King on telly, and the 2 lads are basically egging him on, and the Dark King's kind of like, "Wow, I could have fucking 2 Dragon Knights. Whoa, if Baron gets another Dragon Knight, I'm gonna make him the new Dark Lord." And he's just like, "Fucking, you're just saying that right in front of me. You're just belittling me in front of my whole fucking army." Not much left, admittedly, but still.
Yeah, Kilvern and his little buddy are just like real shit stirrers.
If his little buddy fucking is dunking on him.
Yeah, everyone is. How far he's
Kilmer
fallen?
was like, well, as an independent witness, I thought I better go and see.
It's my objective scientific analysis that you're a shithead. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's some good bit of drama. Yeah, Dai's out, but obviously he's gonna. And the animation's fine this episode, but then I saw the preview and I was like, "Fucking hell!"
Way better.
Yeah.
That is bad.
They're keeping it for when they need it, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, why is he crocodile? He's gonna go down swinging.
He always goes down swinging, then recovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like we get Crocodile versus Baran, and then Dai versus Baran Part 2 next week. So we'll see the full power of his dragon. There was like the suspicion that Baran's doing all this showing off as if to like show to Dai what he could do, and we get the older fortune teller points out that Baran's not necessarily evil.
Yeah, because they do reveal what a dragon knight is. It's like you had humans, what was it called? Like monsterlings, darklings, and dragons. And dragons used to be like, some of them were smart as people or smarter. And they were always fighting these three. So the god of humans, dragons, and darklings went, hey, this can't do. So we need to make a dragon knight. So it's a human with magic powers that is also a dragon. It's just all of them smushed into one guy, and he'll just kick everyone's ass if they have a big world war.
It's Judge, Jury, and Executioner.
But he's there to keep the balance. He's there to keep like the balance. He's there to keep the monsters and humans and dragons from fighting each other. So that's not necessarily evil when you're kicking armies that are just trying to kill each other.
Convinced that the humans are the ones who are imperiling the world.
Yeah, so he's decided I'll just kill all humans. That's fucking easy solution.
Like, no, and also stop calling me Dino. That's not my name. My name's Dai. My granddad raised me right.
Yeah, but my name is in the name of the TV series. It's in there twice, in fact.
But yes. Fortunately, this is not VLADLOVE. Not every cartoon can be VLADLOVE where people draw attention to the actual show they're in. As much as I would want it to be. I suspect we're going to see a flashback to see exactly why Baran's the way he is. And why he had to drop a baby off at an island. Or the mother might have had to do. I don't know. I suspect he's not as bad as he seems, and then he'll die. Because that seems the way you're going to have to go out.
Tearful goodbyes. You'll have to, go through the backstory and all that. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be the joining the party in the same way he Uncle and Crocodile are.
Why the fuck isn't Crocodile in there in the heroes bit at the start of the fucking episode?
I assume we get a new opening. I would hope in a week or two's time, so he might show up there.
Yeah, but they added Hunkel in there. Fucking added giant crocodile man in there. That's all I'm saying.
Avan's been dead for the majority of the series.
Yeah. Bullshit. I'm more of a giant crocodile man representation. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yep. It's a bit like all those weeks of asking where Jinbei was in One Piece.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Tropical-Rouge Precure, episode 4. Q Papaya pops out. This is my tale.
Pop. Yep. Getting Q Papaya. Because the guy think, we should just can't decide what club we should join. Let's make a Precure club. Like, yeah, club Bob Precures for Precures. Say, what is it anyway? Oh, Precure's like warrior of love, gonna save the world. It's like, okay, we got any books on that? Let's go down to the library. And then we're into Minori, who is our prospective candidate for it. The card's like trying to figure out like who she is, and the teacher just says, "Oh, she was in the literary club, was being the operative word there." And they find one of her little short stories she wrote just in the library, in the school library records. It's like, oh, this is really good. And she's a big fan of the Little Mermaids, the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, and you get to like have the very sorrowful ending in the original book that Disney don't want you to know about, where the Little Mermaid, she's given up her voice to get legs, but the prince goes off with another one instead. And Seabridge says, "You just gotta stab her with that knife, and he'll be yours." But she doesn't do it, and she just falls into the ocean and turns into bubbles. It's like so sad. So she's kind of wrote a story. That's like Little Mermaid, but it's like about a girl and she meets a mermaid pal, and they go off on adventures and fight a dragon. It's pretty nice. But it's not. It's only alluded to for now, but that seemed to be didn't get the reception that she wanted from, I guess, her friend in the literary club. So she left it, and she's kind of been by herself all this time. She's embarrassed about this. It's like, oh man, that's a piece of shit story. I don't like it. Well, by the way, mermaids are real. Here's one right now. It's like, oh crap, I'm really into mermaids, as you know. They actually, coincidentally, there is an exhibition in the museum about mermaids and mermaid culture. You can see lots of different interpretations, of sirens. You can see the Fiji mermaid. It's like, hey. And then Laura was like, this is all bullshit. This is all complete, absolute bullshit. Mermaids are not like this at all. It's like, oh, got a pose in the thing so no one notices. You get talking to Minori then, who they've invited, to come along and see it. Or she came along by herself. And Minori's like saying, yeah, Little Mermaid, favorite book. Ending is like, I'm not discount, we should do that. And then Laura's going, breaks the camouflage. That's absolute bullshit. No mermaid would do that for a human. Oh. Yep, I'm real. Here's mermaid. Hey, now you're in. You want to be a Precure? You got the stuff. Guess just half that kid. Too bad. Cue monster attack, but the crab man can't show up this time. Instead, the fish lady nurse who was like bandaging him up and said, "Hey, you want to go and terrorize the mainland?" It's like, yeah, I suppose I can. So she shows up, makes a monster. A little bit better than a set of lawn furniture, but it's still a bit rough. It's just like the creepy face is good, but the eyes light up and it's absorbing people's like motivational power. But it's just they really don't really like get it for me. Maybe they'll improve. They'll probably get like the part where to get like the monster power up, and there'll be different monsters, or the lieutenants will start getting involved themselves in it. But yeah, the monsters I think are the weakest part of it.
Once the lieutenant monsters get enough like motivation to actually like make a decent fucking monster,
maybe
start looking better. Yeah.
I suppose it's in the text of the show is why our design is very
lazy.
But yeah, 2 Precures not enough. And Laura's always like, yo, you want to be the hero of your own tale? Well, I got this a thing for you right now. You got to step up. You can't be depending on somebody else to try and rescue you. You got to rescue yourself. You got to be your own hero. And you do reach out and affect people because, hey, Manatsu liked your story. She thought it was pretty rad. So you got one fan there. Maybe you should, have a bit more belief in yourself. And that's enough. Yay, we got cute Papaya. She's, I think because Papaya's figured in the short stories that she wrote, she just likes that kind of fruit. It figures into her design. She's all about that. So lots of this posting going on. Mo Farah's lawyers will be in contact with you very soon. And our Jackson things are all fruit themed. She's got like one where she kind of conjures a big papaya with a face in it, and then splits it in half, and all of the little seedy round seed bits kind of pop out, and they're like fire off like missiles. It's pretty cool. What's about that? It's kind of a thing as well. Oh, wouldn't it be cool if maybe she's like a secret karate champion? I guess they're kind of alluding to that when she just like does that to the fruit. Victory poses as well. The victory poses as well. Was monsters may not be great, but when they blow them up, it's pretty nice because they just go like their own little poses and fun. Yay! Kaboom! Don't look like at the explosion. Yeah, we're getting the team together. The long-awaited Cure Flamingo is going to come by this week. She's their cool senior. She's going to rescue them from some delinquents, some bully boys in the street. I think she's going to be a good fit for the team. I look forward to her greatly. It's still fun, while some of the action we're sort of here for may not always be it. I think the things that surround it are fun enough in the lead up to it that it's still kind of it's amusing and fun to watch. What's going on in live action, Brian?
I am up on that. It was episode 3 was a serious witch, in which a lot of green screen was used because they had to make it look like the city had been covered in ice by the frozen world or the Ice World, or whatever it was called. And also they run into Majin, a robot lady who is obsessed with fortune telling, and she wants to be a fortune teller. And turns out she used to be the next door neighbor of Zuran, or Kyoran, I think. I can't remember which way around it is. Anyway, the dinosaur guy. He used to be. He was the old man who lived next door to her when she was a kid. They suddenly reveal that they're like, "Oh, you're an old man," because he's a robot. How would you know? And so they have to do a bunch of fortune telling to try and find the cause of the ice, and deal with it. And eventually, she joins the team, and she turn into a dragon. I think that's what she turns into when she's in her animal form, because she's based on the Magi Rangers, is her influence. Right. Yeah, but they
so they got a dinosaur, a magical
they got a dinosaur,
animal,
a saber-tooth, and a dragon. Or is he just a lion?
Okay.
It might just be a lion. I can't remember exactly what sort of animal he is.
Well, I guess saber-tooth is a real animal. So that's fine.
I think the next guy is a car.
Ancient beast.
Excellent. Car. I mean, like, you could do train as well.
I
maybe
could
that's
be
a bit
wrong, but I
redundant.
think you might be a car.
It's tying in, man. The Molcar went back in time, and now there's a record of in like the Ice Age. So now it's come back.
It all links in. Yeah.
It already had got a bit of something for the mums, as our hero was in a sauna at one point. Oh, our heroes, the two guy robots, were also stripped off in a sauna, complaining about the heat. And I was like, it wasn't until he took his clothes off that I realised that Zuran wanders around in like swim shorts all the time. Gowon does not have trousers, but he does wear a jacket all the time.
It's just like Donald Duck.
Otherwise, continue to be fun. The green screen was kind of ridiculous in places, because they've just taken photos of the usual locations they use and photoshopped them to look icy.
Yeah.
But there was like no depth to them, so it was clearly just people in suits acting in front of it.
If they'd planned ahead, they would have just taken pictures during winter or something.
And lots of slipping around acting as well. But it's quite funny. Eventually, after they get fed up of slipping, they go, because the Gran owns a sweet shop. It also has sleds for sale, little plastic toy sleds, and so they all pick the sled of their colour and start sledding around the town in order to get from point A to point B. And the lesson is that even if you're not good at fortune telling, it can still be a fun thing to do. So why stop fortune telling? That's the lesson that Majin learns.
Fortune telling being a lot of skateboarding, as we know.
Exactly. It's also funny that they make this ice robot, the bad guys do, and then all of their troops start slipping and sliding everywhere as well.
Collateral damage.
The janitor from the bad guys HQ joins the team next week. I don't know how he's gonna. Presumably, they've been yelling at him every episode so far, so I assume eventually it turns from yelling to trying to get him killed, and then he'll have to go and join the good guys. His gimmick appears to be being clumsy based on the opening credits, when he can't keep up the dance, unlike all the other characters. And he wears glasses. He's a robot wearing glasses, which again is a great design. Anytime you design a robot which has got some sort of flaw that does not need to be part of them. I mean, they're not actual robots; they're just mechanical people. I'm insulting them calling them robots. But yeah, it's a lot of good fun, and very light. Unlike Kemono Jihen, episode 11.
Memories. Content warning.
I can't remember if this was toned down from the comic, or if there's even worse stuff yet to be seen.
You don't see anything, but to like I'm sorry for like the fucking trigger warning and everything, but right it is right now. But there is implied child rape and a bunch of it, so that's great. Yeah, God, it's fucking show, man. It's very depressing.
You just got to put the fucking SVU slate in front of this. This is not based on a true story.
Yeah.
So essentially, Yui's concern was that after their father died, and after he was able to
took over as the village chief.
As the village chief, which means he has to impregnate all the village women. And
yep.
And his concern.
And they start getting like jealous.
They do, yeah, because they
weird.
They're, in order to maintain order.
So that the social order isn't based off of your looks. Yes. They wear those what do they call them? Those towels that are in front of zombie faces. I can't think of the proper term with the symbol on them. I can't think of the face.
So the prowess is only based on the hunting ability. But because they've done this, then whoever is the chief ends up just having to deal with all of their neuroses as well as being raped as a 13-year-old. Yeah.
So it's not great for him, but on the plus side, he gets, after a hard day's work as the village chief, he gets to stay in the same room as Akira, and Akira's like, "Hey, bro, let me know if you need any help at work. I don't mind doing it." And he's kind of like smiling, as like, it's a bunch of paperwork. You wouldn't be very good at it, kind of thing. He's trying to keep Akira pure, but the fact that Akira is supporting him without knowing what the fuck kind of shit he's up to, he's like, I gotta keep fucking Akira out of this. This is crazy.
And once he realizes that Akira's now mature to fulfill the role, then he has to make a deal with the women to have.
Yeah, so Akira tells him at one stage, he's like, "Oh, bro, I wet the bed last night," and he's like, "Was that wet the bed or was that nocturnal emissions? All right, women of the village, I called you out here because you got to let Akira go or I'll kill myself." And they're like, "We'll just fucking use Akira then, idiot." And he's like, Akira's real tough. Akira could handle that job. And they're all like, "Oh yeah, Akira wouldn't be able to handle that job. You're right." So he's like, "Hey, Akira, run to Tokyo. I'll meet you there. See you later. Bye." You go leave. And then the women overhears them saying, "Yeah, we're totally going to murder Akira, because we did say we'd let him go, but we didn't say we'd not kill him after we let him go." So he's kind of pissed about that.
He send him to Inagaki? Yeah.
Yeah, he says like Tokyo. What's the place? Yeah. And Inagaki.
Is it Inugami? Is it Inugami? Or is it Inugami? Isn't it? I keep on putting the K in instead of the M. I don't know who I'm thinking of. Not a character in this show. But then that's reflected back in Akira putting up a pretense to Kabane after Kabane gets himself out of the ice by twisting his torso around super fast. So he basically breaks out the ice and shoots his torso across the room.
Wow.
Yeah, but his pelvis starts growing back, and then he's like, "Hey, Akira, I'm here," and he's kind of like, "Dude, put on some pants.
Yes,
I can see all your shame."
And then he's pretending to be tough, and then he doesn't care about them because they threw him out. And he's icing up his own tears so that Kabane can't see him crying as he's doing this.
Yeah, when Kabane turns him around to confront him, "Akira, you don't really feel like this." It's like, "What? You thought when you turned me around I was going to be crying? Fat chance, loser. I don't give a fuck about you. Hey, bro, yeah, this dipshit got out, but don't worry about that salt I told you to get earlier. Just leave it over there where Kabane can see it. And we're going to leave this place. I'm sick of this fucking place anyway." The brother's just like, "Yeah,
Kabane,
sure,
the other brother, the robot brother that the vampire built for him, they start discussing what's happened here. And basically, Inagami's used his shape-changing power to shape-change the air around him. So as it's revealed later when Inari shows up, he's essentially turned the ice into a thermos.
So he's alive
him and
in there,
inside
and
like a thermos inside the ice. Yeah.
So and they've shoved the brother robot underneath his arm because he's cute and cuddly and generates a small amount of heat as an electronic device. Yeah. So he's warm, and that'll help melt it eventually. And also he can hear. He can hear his like brain patterns and therefore like say out loud what he's trying to say while frozen inside ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. His talents are wasted at World of Warcraft. He should fucking move to other things.
Oh, just like it's to say, yes, the robot burrow that the vampire invented for him. There's a sentence that makes complete sense.
Like, I mean, like the fucked up things are never presented as like titillating or anything. They are presented as like really fucked up. So I'm fine. I like they're unpleasant to fucking see, but they're presented as a thing that is unpleasant. And then you get to say fucking really fun things like that. That's one of the things that's keeping me on the show.
It's the particularly weird juxtaposition that I think is
yeah.
Big flavors.
It is.
Big
it can
flavors.
alienate some people who aren't used to it, but yeah, it's like the spinning out the ice was crazy. The
Like tearing off the top of your own
Yes.
torso to escape ice. Yeah, that's pretty fucking crazy as a plan.
I feel like based on the actual content, that you were saying earlier about that harrowing backstory, I think what all the twin engine shows that we've been watching or adjacent to, which seem to delve pretty exclusively in that kind of material. I think we're maybe a bit inured to it by now. They're doing this for how many years?
But yeah, so Inari's after the stone that Yui's got, the null stone, and it has some. If you basically just cuts a deal with Kabane to get it back, and because it might have something to do with your parents, that might lead you to your parents. Little dangling the carrot.
Like we're still not 100% sure. We're still not 100% sure what Akira's brother did to the village, but they, like, as a village chief, he was told about the null stone, which keeps everything cold around here. Which they're cold monsters. They need the cold to survive. So presumably, took that, added it to himself, and I hope probably killed everyone in that village. Because fuck that noise.
You'll find out next episode, along with a pretty great line, if I remember correctly.
But yeah, she's shown up while your man's frozen. It's like, hey, Cabana, are you going to help me get this thing? It'll help you find out who your parents are. Come on. She's there being the tempting devil, I suppose. Yeah.
I've
meanwhile
read on with her.
Her guy is out the woods.
She's a scary monster later on.
I mean, like, she's a cop, so yeah, sure. I'm fine with that.
Because I was thinking the other week, it's like, okay, right, they've dealt with everyone in the department, in the detective agency's backgrounds now. And then I realised, oh no, there's people who have probably got even worse backgrounds who we've not got to, in the form of Khan and Nobimaru. And Inari herself.
Yeah.
And I assume there's something messed up with Inugami, though from what I've seen so far, not really. But yeah, so we get the flashbacks are all interspersed within this. So Nobimaru catches up with the two brothers first, doesn't he? Before Kabane catches up, but Kabane doesn't catch up this episode.
Yeah,
because he's put when he shows up, he puts Yui in a cage, I assume to protect him from Nobimaru, and then Nobimaru.
Also to trap him.
Nobimaru gets his foot iced up, and then says that he's going to have to do this seriously because his boss is here. I apparently it had happened before, but I only noticed it this time. Is that when he says he's going to go serious and fully changes into his Kitsune form, his voice changes from that of a child to an adult.
Yeah, so is he like pretending to be a little kid as well? Yeah. Is that the facade?
Yeah, and of course I was like, oh yeah, that works really well with all the other stuff that's in this episode of Akira putting on a show to benefit Kabane and the rest of them, to protect them from his brother putting on a show,
Akira's brother, like,
to protect him,
putting on a show in the past, and now like taking what he's learned and kind of twisting it in a way to protect his brother, but basically doing exactly the same fucking thing.
This suggests that Nobimaru is doing
everything.
the opposite, is that he puts on the innocent show,
yes,
to hide a much more serious, more dangerous person behind it.
Yeah.
And then we leave it with them about to kick off.
There's some good fighty bits as well. With like
the fight in the next episode is so good in the comic, and as this has been pretty much a 1-for-1 of the comic, except maybe a few bits in this episode. for reasons of taste and decency on television.
I'm fine with that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it should be, but they might have to censor some of the next fight as well because it's so gruesome.
Okay.
Ooh.
Jesus.
Right, look on the forward to the Blu-ray.
Well, I'm not even sure this is still top-notch production. 11 episodes in, it's not slacked in the slightest. And I guess not enough people are watching it for it to be getting the same sort of talk that Skate and Wonder Egg Priority.
Yeah. It's funny because like both of those have ran into this production problems with them, which have gotten them a lot of press now.
Yeah,
that's people want to talk about, and it's again that
people were raving about Wonder Egg Priority's visuals before, which I was which made me watch the first episode. I was like, "This is what you're raving about when Skate the Infinity's on the air."
It's different tones. Like, you know, you want something different out of the artwork. You want someone to have something dynamic. You want something that's fucking bit of spectacle, maybe. But
they cover a lot of similar locations. That was the main thing I was thinking. It was like the lived-in world. It's Wonder Egg Priority has got some, at least from the first episode, its backgrounds are nowhere near as good as Skate the Infinities. And they're dealing in similar sorts of real-world locations, and
then Skate does. I mean, like obviously they're using it on the S most, but like that thing between him, Snake and Miria, where he's doing like the goofy fucking style of dance fucking skating, and the entire background's moving.
Yes, and you think about like the lived-in look of like the shop and the bedrooms.
Bedroom,
and just the towns that they're skating around and everything.
Also, Wonder Egg Priority's got some shonky looking CG that I'm like, the CG in Back Arrow is much better than.
The CG in Back Arrow is the best looking part of it.
I mean, that's just one example, one of like, you know, an ever-growing number of examples. For like, you can like implement a CG into this like in a good way. It's just you just need to know how. This is one way to do it. It's a very good way.
Yeah. No, I was just bewildered on a production level of like why people were. But I guess the people who were talking at Wonder Egg Priority are probably not the people watching Skate and Back Arrow that first week.
Yeah, there's not much crossover of it. Yeah,
they want something more in like an atmosphere, a tone kind of thing, and how good it is at conveying that. But as I said, I was similarly had it like, you know, I was planned out or whatever. But it was like a very young studio that was doing. I think this is like one of their first TV thing they've done, and they bit off more than they could chew. And they had the same problem where like you got a lot of talent here, but you haven't got enough of us, and you're short of staff to get this thing over the line. Like.
Whereas Kemono Jihen, as we looked last week, seems to have like a very experienced person in charge of it, and a long established studio. So that's probably why it's chugging along nicely.
Just consistent. Consistency is what we enjoy here. I think a lot of things that we enjoy week to week are consistent on the visual level, but as well as seem consistently good, you know, on a narrative level, on a style level, you know,
consistently good acting and just general production. Yeah, for sure.
Molcar, Dragon Quest,
yeah,
all big hitters.
Rightio, that is it for this week. Is My Hero Academia back for next week's episode?
It's on this weekend.
Will it be another recap episode?
I thought for a moment. I did.
Yeah, that's
doing
the thing,
that, don't they?
That's how they tend to start off the season.
I keep an eye for Fruits Basket. I think that's starting soon. I think I was panicking a little bit. Did I miss out on that? Did that got put out on there as well? But it was, I think, some special preview event up somewhere, and it's like, oh god, I don't know how I forgot about that. But that's coming the next week or two, I believe.
Right, that's your lot for this week. Back Tuesday, Niall?
Tuesday, let me check the old calendar here. I'm in, blah, blah, blah. Yes, Tuesday the 30th of March.
Excellent. I shall change that on the calendar right now, because I keep on forgetting to do it. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye to you, dear listener, dear viewer, and we'll meet once again. Hopefully, I'll get the podcast up a little bit quicker, because I won't be suffering from side effects from a Vaccine.
As excuses go,
It's a pretty good one. Yes.
One. I think no court in the land will convict you on that.
Now it's got to wait the 3 months for the second jab. Rightio. Well, you guys got to wait for your first jab.
Stay tuned. Any year now.
Rightio. We'll be back next week. Goodbye.
Bye. See ya.
I'm gonna stop.